So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back again my good friend, Mr. Ryan Pinnick, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, mate.
Love you, bro.
Cool. Hello, Expert Empires. That was an incredibly English response. So I'm really looking forward to sharing with you what I know is the most powerful presentation you're going to watch over the next 2 days. It's important to have humility. And I mean that sincerely. You know, I started this journey of entrepreneurship about 26 years ago. No, I was 26, not 26 years ago. And about 15 years ago, I think I watched a program called Dragon's Den. And this business thing looked really easy. You come up with a good idea, you go talk to a bunch of people with money, and you become rich, right? I was extremely naive, I'll be honest with you, and I went to lots of seminars. I was very passionate. I just consumed information, which I know that you all value and respect here because you're here learning as well. And to be fair, I actually created quite a bit of success, mostly in real estate in the beginning. And what I found was, when I created success, I had an strangely, downward turn as well. So my success and my progress was very much an up and down curve. Who can relate to what I'm talking about? Can I see by a show of hands? Now, by the way, who's going to the party this evening at 8 o'clock? Depending on how interactive you are with me, I might buy another round of tequila. I did that a few Expert Empires ago. I think it was 100 tequilas, and I realized most people didn't want to drink it. So I had a great fucking time. It was the best party I ever attended by myself. When I ask you to interact, please raise your hand nice and high. I tell you why. It's a very powerful learning assimilation process for yourself. It means you're engaged, because obviously you're sitting down, and whilst you're sitting down, it doesn't take a long time for you to disengage. So when I ask you to raise your hand, raise your hand nice and high. If you raise your hand like this, it means you're sexually available this evening at the party at 8 o'clock, and I'll be coming after you with some tequila. Okay, especially the men. So who can relate to ups and downs in life and business and career and all that kind of stuff? Can I see my show of hands? Thank you very much. There's a gentleman over there with both his arms up. So I wasn't always an entrepreneur. I started out as an electrical engineer, mostly because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I went and got advice from a careers advisor, and he said to me, Ryan, you can study medicine, journalism, and electrical engineering. I'm not quite sure how he arrived at those three outcomes because they're totally not related, but I chose engineering based on the fact that I was most likely to get a job in South Africa at the time, which is where I'm from. World champions. Commiserations about that. I was in a fortunate position, actually, because I've got a British passport, and I was born in South Africa. I was basically a born winner in the Rugby World Cup final. So I studied engineering. Thankfully, synchronistically, magically, whatever you want to call it, maybe through some divine intervention, I was fortunate enough to come over to England and get a work permit as a result of my career. So I'm very grateful for that. So that's me operating an overhead projector on the right-hand side. Raise your hand if you know what an overhead projector is. Amazing. I recently went into a hotel, the Bloomsbury in Covent Garden, beautiful hotel. And I went into the toilets there, as you do, and the toilets had these things called taps. Right? Do you guys remember what a tap is? Right? There was a 22-year-old dude who was standing in front of the thing that dispenses water, and he didn't realize he had to turn those fucking knobs to get the water out because most of it's electronic. So times have changed. But my point is that I started out based on what other people were telling me to do. I had no sense of my own intuitive journey. I had no sense of my own purpose. I had really no ability to make up my own mind. And I think a lot of mistakes that people make are based on the fact that we rely too heavily on the opinions of other people. We need to, yes, of course, get mentoring. Yes, of course, get training. Yes, of course, be in masterminds and hang out with great people. But I believe fundamentally that your success is primarily down to your genius. And I'm going to explain to you what that's about. So, from engineer to studying superconsciousness. I did firewalking, jumped out of a plane, I did affirmations, I did vision boards, I did all those great things. And yes, it changed my mindset, but I realized that there's more important stuff to focus on than just simple mindset. And when I discovered super consciousness about 10 years ago, that's when my life really took off, not just in business, but in all areas of my life on a consistent basis. And that's important. Creating success is actually quite easy. Keeping it, that takes skill. So what I'm going to share with you is about super consciousness, and super consciousness is a new thing. It's something that in the UK, certainly I'm the only one actually speaking about it and running trainings on it. And I've been very fortunate to use super consciousness, intuition, imagination, genius, these types of things that actually we all have inherently within us, but are lying there dormant. I used these skills and techniques and built a very successful training company which has generated over £7 million with zero entrepreneurial experience. Wow. Oh, thanks for the round of applause. I really appreciate that. That's great. It's the first time in my life I got acknowledged. I got daddy issues, okay? And thank you for the round of applause. It felt really good. But what I'm hoping to do actually is inspire you to say that you have an inner whisper, you have an inner guidance that knows what action you need to take. The problem is we're not educated and trained to follow this, what Steven Spielberg would call inner whisper. And guess what? My journey to success will be different to your journey to success. Your genius is different. Your natural gifts and talents are different to mine. And so now I'm very fortunate to go and speak on super consciousness in very fascinating environments. This is at the Business Show, which is an incredibly busy and fruitful environment for entrepreneurs to be. You can really go out and learn some great stuff. Been fortunate to speak at some big conferences. And I think this was one of my proudest moments, which is now second after that round of applause, by the way. I think what you just did there was the most proudest thing I've ever experienced. Just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was very honored, and when I say the word honor, I seriously mean honor, to have the opportunity to present super consciousness to the US military in Mildenhall at the RAF base there. Because I don't know if you know that the number one killer in military industry is actually suicide. And so what's happening is I now have the opportunity to go out and actually apply super consciousness to people who are out there making the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. And it's an incredibly, deeply honoring environment to be in. And a lot of those people are suffering, and we had an amazing experience teaching super consciousness to the military. I had to behave myself. And for those of you who see me speak, which I don't know how many of that is, I spent a whole day running a workshop without swearing. I needed a drink after that, I'll tell you. Oh, thanks. No, that's the best. That is a well-deserved round of applause, okay? So here's the thing, right? We're in a conference here. We're in an event which is it's a world-class event. I'm really honored to have the opportunity to be on the stage with you. I'm super grateful to Nick and the team for creating this incredible experience, and I'm sure you will be grateful at the end as well. But check this out. You're going to all learn the same tools, techniques, and strategies and tactics, right? I don't know how many people are in the room here, 400 or 500. Yet, right? Yet, check this out. Yet, some of you are going to make it big, and some of you are going to go back to doing what you've always been doing. And so it's not the information that's the problem, isn't it? So what's the problem? Or not what's the problem, what's the variable? Mindset, possibly? You. You're the variable, right? And I might even challenge the white belt, black belt analogy. Because can someone be in business longer than someone else and not be as successful as someone who's been in business for 12 months? Yes or no? Yeah, so yes, time is a factor, but it's not the most critical factor from my experience, and I'm going to prove that to you in this talk. The most critical factor in your ability to create results on a consistent basis in all areas of your life, by the way, is your consciousness. Okay? So what is it that makes someone continue to go from being a white belt to a black belt despite the failure, despite the criticism, despite being beaten in a karate competition or whatever the case is? I actually am a black belt, by the way, when I was 13, so don't approach me now. Now I'm into yoga. Okay? I will child's pose your ass. That did not actually Can we delete that from the video? That is a new sexual position. One I'll try with my girlfriend at home tonight. I'll let you know how it goes, okay? We'll put it on YouTube. So you are the only variable. You are the most critical aspect of your investment, of your learning, of your training, okay? And I'm going to now start speaking very openly about what it takes to be great, because I used to have this thing where I needed to please people. Who can relate to what I'm talking about? We're trying to please people, okay? Fuck that. And I'm very serious. I ran a 3-day workshop this weekend. I had a particular person in the audience. I was trying to please her, and you know what? She didn't want to be there for the right reasons. She didn't want to learn. But by trying to please her, it created a conflict, and it actually disrupted the workshop. So now, I'm just going to get real about what it takes to be great. You need to face yourself. You need to face your demons. You need to realize that you're going to be criticized, and things are going to be confronting you, and you're going to have depression, you're going to have anger, you're going to have frustration. But guess what? You also have an inner power called your spirit, which, if you engage that, can empower you to rise above all that shit, so that you can create greatness in all areas of your life. And I promise you that. But you do need to be mature, and you do need to take responsibility for what you're experiencing. If you can do that, right, and you can evolve your consciousness, I guarantee greatness for you. I guarantee that. The problem is, we live in a society that likes to blame people, blame circumstances, blame Brexit, blame political parties, blame the customer that didn't pay on time. I'm like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go in the short time that we've got here today? Can I just hear from you right now? Are you sure? Okay. Because all the way for me is quite deep. It's what's deep inside that really counts. So, people who come and do trainings with me, people who create greatness as a result of my trainings, they accept one truth and one truth only. And that is, everything you experience is a reflection of your consciousness. Everything you experience is you attracting stuff into your life. Someone broke into my van the other day. Yes, I own a van. Right? I don't want to brag and put a picture up of my van and show you my amazing car. Okay? I own a van because I'm into motorcycling. But someone broke into my van. Why? Because I've got resistance to doing things that I love. And I was supposed to go to a track day the next day. There's no coincidence that that dude broke into my van and disrupted my van, which sabotaged my track day. So what I do is I teach people tools and techniques about how you can uproot stuff that's sabotaging you so that you don't attract that bad stuff anymore. Because the more successful you become, the more tension you have, the more you attract stuff that's going to try and pull you down to safety and survival. You see, here's the thing, right? We're all born to be great, but we're designed to be safe. We have this conflicting tension within us. So, when you look at a genius, I actually looked up this definition of genius. What is a genius? A genius, fundamentally, is someone who's got unique gifts and talents. Okay, Steve Jobs, obviously a technological genius who likes to copy other people's tech and put it together and wrap it up under the Apple brand. Okay, fair enough. He didn't invent most of the technologies. He just was a genius in sales. Elon Musk is a genius in tweets, right? About the share price. Roger Federer, tennis genius. Lionel Messi, football genius. Jurgen Klopp, best manager in the world. Whoa! Klopp, we believe, come on. Right? So we all have an inner genius, and when you connect to that genius, guess what? Magic happens. Also, if you look up the word genius, the definition, the true etymology of the word genius is the guiding spirit that attends to us from birth. Think about that. We all have a guiding spirit that attends to us from birth, kind of like a spiritual coach, mentor, master, who knows what tickles our heart, who knows what makes our soul sizzle, who knows why we're here on earth. The problem is, we live in a society that celebrates the rational mind, as Einstein said, and we forgot about that intuitive inner spirit that knows what our path is. I teach people in a 3-day workshop how to actually connect into that inner spirit, that intuitive ability, so that you can actually go about fulfilling your purpose, enjoy it, create wealth, and have amazing relationships whilst having, really good, healthy lifestyle as well. We have a guiding spirit, okay? This is really important. Seriously, not to rub this in your face, I believe, it's a complete assumption by the way, but I do have strong links into the South African rugby team through some mutual friends. I believe that South Africa won the game before the final even started because of the historical significance of the game. The same as 1995. Why did South Africa beat the All Blacks and Jonah Lomu, by the way, who by himself is a rugby team, right? Because of the occasion. They invoked a spirit which empowered them to go beyond their capabilities. This is what genius is. This is what greatness is. Greatness is the ability to go beyond your capabilities. I had no entrepreneurial experience 5 years ago. So how did I generate 7 million pounds? I triggered my spirit. I triggered my intuition to give me ideas and create opportunities that I didn't even know I could create. Who understands what I'm talking about? Right? So this is crucial. I'm going to share with you 3 things that I'd like you to focus on. One is self-awareness. I've been very fortunate to meet, speak, shake hands with Gary Vaynerchuk. And it's quite interesting because Nick and I have a great story. We might share that with you at some point. And it's actually quite synchronistically along similar lines of him engaging with Gary Vaynerchuk. But essentially, Gary Vaynerchuk is a very successful entrepreneur, for those of you who don't know. And he puts his success down to mastering self-awareness. Now, the dude can sell wine, the dude knows how to tell you how to DM, the dude knows how to repurpose content and create amazing followers. But when I personally asked him, I said, listen here, what do you think is the most critical aspect to your success? He said, mastering self-awareness. I know myself. Right? Give someone with poverty conscious 100 million euros from the lottery, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, they're going to blow it. Their life is going to be ruined. Because 100 million euros, or pounds, is a lot of responsibility. And if you don't know that yourself, that is going to actually ultimately completely ruin your life. You're going to be totally dysfunctional. I know one of our friends, mutual friends, Rob, is going to be speaking, I think. But he's very big on Alexander McQueen. Genius, right? Fashion queen. Fashion legend. Genius. But because he didn't know himself, at the age of 40, he ended up committing suicide. Amy Winehouse, 24. Paul Gascoigne. Who's starting to see the pattern here? Right? You can be successful, but if it's not fundamentally built on you knowing yourself, it's going to crush you. Okay? So you really want to focus on mastering yourself. Consciousness is way more important in life than any strategy, tactic, or implementation. So when I started this training business in 2015, I didn't know about Facebook marketing courses because nobody was running ads to Facebook marketing courses yet. So I used intuition, I used imagination to invent my own strategies when I was in Cape Town. I was still living in Cape Town at the time. I used my intuition and I used my imagination to invent my own marketing strategies, which I still do today, which is why I'm still in business and which is why my cost per lead is still cheaper than most of my peers. Because I'm different. Who understands what I'm talking about? Modeling other... That dude still got both his arms up, mate. He's looking for a good time at the back there. Right? So, yes, modeling from other people, learning from other people, crucial. But if you want to experience greatness and happiness and wealth, you need to carve your own journey in the world. One of my heroes, Joseph Campbell, said, if you are walking on a path and there's footsteps along that path, that means you're not on your path. Edit, this is my edit, get the fuck off. Create your own path, create your own journey in the world. You're not here to be a watered-down version of someone else. You're here to be your unique self. Disclaimer. It's not easy. You're going to be stressed out. Creating your own unique path in the world means you're going to experience stress and tension. But being a watered-down version of someone else is going to make you unhappy. Life is meant to be an adventure. You're meant to live in the unknown. You're meant to create. You're meant to make mistakes. You're meant to fail, but then pick yourself up, and start again and learn from what you created and do it better next time. And if you repeat that process over and over again, guess what's inevitable? Create an amazing life, right? So here's a lady, funny enough, she was actually at a recent Expert Empires, and she had a sideline crystal business, a side hustle, as we like to say. For 3 years, she was trying to sell crystals online using all sorts of strategies, gimmicks, tactics, all that kind of stuff. Couldn't make more than a few £100s. She came along to a 3-day workshop that I run. Within 4 weeks, she was earning 8, 9, 10,000 pounds on a consistent basis, and she's doing more right now. So what changed? Not the tactics, her ability to receive, because we evolved her wealth consciousness. So when we talk about consciousness, I'm specifically talking about, in a very simplistic level, your subconscious mind. When we talk about your subconscious mind, I'm referring to the aspect of yourself that is like a rich, fertile garden. Whatever you plant into a rich, fertile garden, it will grow. Tomato seeds, boom, it'll grow, right? Marijuana seeds, boom, it will grow, depending on your flavor. No judgment. So what we plant into our subconscious mind is critical. But there are two inputs to our subconscious mind. One is your unconscious mind. So when I talk about unconscious mind, and by the way, there are various different philosophies. Mine's not better or worse, it's just different. But I am right. That is the general reaction I get from most women. Ha ha ha. I know my limitations, okay? So in your unconscious mind, I want you to think of your unconscious mind as a hard drive which has saved all the past experiences you've had, you've lived through, and it's got one primary purpose, and that is to keep you safe. Your unconscious mind has got one primary purpose: keep you safe. Don't go do public speaking. How do you think I felt before I came on stage? How do you think I felt? Yeah, nervous as fuck. Right? How many times have I done this? I've done this event 6 times. I've been speaking for 15 years. Okay? I wasn't anxious, I was nervous, because my subconscious mind remembers the time when I was a child and I spoke up and my dad gave me a smack because I spoke and I presented something that I felt really passionate about. Who understands what I'm talking about? This is important, right? But because I know that part of myself, I don't let it dictate my thoughts, feelings, and decisions. I thank my unconscious ego for wanting me to keep safe, but my genius is on stage. So you can either stay there or you can come along because the view is quite good. So your unconscious mind, remember, is designed to keep you safe. Let's say you're in real estate, you go knock on a door, someone rejects you. That can hurt. Okay? If your genius is not real estate, you're going to give up. You're not going to go knock on the next door. You're going to go, well, I tried once, that was enough. You know, from my experience in real estate, you need to make about 40 offers to get one deal. To get those 40 offers, you probably need to visit 100 houses. There's a lot of rejection there. But your unconscious ego is going, knocking on doors is not safe. Don't do that. Remember the last time you knocked on a door and someone shouted at you because you made a ridiculously low offer? Let's rather go do network marketing. Because then you can sit behind your computer and rejection is online, and we can close our laptop and watch Jeremy Kyle. Oh, no, you can't anymore. Sorry about that. You can flick the TV to Dead Enders. Sorry, EastEnders. So maybe your unconscious mind is saying, hey, the last time you were in a relationship, it really hurt because you got rejected, so you don't get into a relationship again. Or you get into a relationship that's really safe. Not one that you love, one that's safe and predictable and mediocre. Right? So your unconscious mind is there to keep you safe. It's actually good. You want to be safe. You want to know that there's a bus driving down the road that you need to be aware of. But you don't want to pay attention to what your unconscious mind is saying to you, because if you do, you're always going to be in survival mode. That's why we have ups and downs in life. Doesn't matter how much money you make, if you listen to your unconscious mind, you'll always come back to neutral. Because it's comfortable. Genius, greatness is about being uncomfortable, about experiencing, stretching yourself, going beyond what you know, going beyond your comfort zone, which is a bit of a cliche and a fridge magnet, right? So, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said, you know, I only count reps when I start to feel the pain. It's a big lesson there, isn't it? Most people feel pain, and they stop taking action because they think something's wrong. No. You're growing now. This is good. That's why it's called growing pains. You like that, did you? You've seen me 100 times, and you've just learned something new. Fantastic. Yeah, keep coming back. Sound like we're in AA now. Keep coming back as long as you've got tequila. So, the first step to consciousness, what is my unconscious mind telling me so that I can dismiss it and not pay attention to it? It's called unconscious because we're not aware of what it's saying to us. We then have our superconscious mind. Our superconscious mind is intuition, imagination, purpose, love, all the high vibrational emotional experiences that we as human spiritual beings can plant into our consciousness that will change our vibration, change our reality, even change dysfunctional relationships like I have with my dad, who's extremely violent and for the last 13 or 14 years has been in a care home because of his alcoholism and his dementia. I have transformed that relationship through unconditional love, and it's fucking excruciatingly painful. Who understands what I'm talking about? This is not a motivational talk. This is a reality talk. I hate it when people say to me, "Are you a motivational speaker?" I go, "No fucking ways, mate. I'm a reality speaker. I'm a result speaker." Because, you see, the thing is, I love Sufi philosophy. Anyone here into Sufi philosophy? You love those fridge magnets? Yeah, 2 people. The Sufis say, your light is through the wound. The problem with most personal development is they only focus on goals, visions, affirmations, all that kind of stuff, but we don't deal with the unconscious mind. That's why we sabotage ourselves. You have to master the unconscious mind, and you have to master your genius, your higher spirit. Both. You have to do both. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll direct your life, and you will call it fate. Nothing happens to you. You attract everything that happens to you. You may not believe me right now, and I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm actually asking you to be skeptical. But I am going to ask you at some point to come and spend some time with me so I can prove that to you. Because when I prove that to you, and I give you the tools and techniques that can empower you to change your reality, A, you will know that what I'm saying is correct, and B, you will be the master of your fate, captain of your soul, as I say in Invictus. Okay? The reason you had a bad tenant is you've got resistance to creating wealth. It's got nothing to do with the tenant. It's all you. The reason you attracted a customer that's not paying you on time, you have issues with self-worth. That's okay. It's not a problem. We all started somewhere. Let's just evolve that. Let's weed that out of our consciousness and plant something else in that's more empowering. So when I teach people on my trainings, I take them through processes where we weed out what's toxic in the unconscious mind so we can plant in the good stuff. For those of you who've got gardens, and most of you know about gardening, you don't weed your garden once, you do it on a monthly basis. And if you're like me, I outsource that shit. Okay. I tried it once, I got, stung, very masculine. I was weeding out my garden, and I was like, oh, I got stung, right? Now I outsource it. Every month, you have to weed out your weeds and plant in the good stuff. Put in manure, put in new flowers, put in new fruits, put in new vegetables. And the more you tend to the garden of your subconscious mind, the more your life is going to blossom. It's exactly the same as a garden. Your ego is addicted to survival. Just think about that for a second. Your ego is addicted to survival. Not wealth, not love, not intimacy, not sales, not public speaking. Legend has it that public speaking is more feared than death. Right? I don't know about that, but the point is, if anyone here has experienced addiction like I have, detoxing from something is torture. At the beginning of this year, I was diagnosed with a small, very, very small brain tumor, and I was told to detox from sugar, fruits, processed sugar, everything, for 8 weeks. I was dreaming of tango. It was like tango porn, if you can imagine what that is like. Obscure, right? Right? The 4th day of my detox, I was standing in front of a fizzy drink refrigerator going, I think appetizer is really healthy. It's got apple on it. Right? It's intense. If you've never detoxed from something, don't have sugar or fruit for 4 weeks, just as an experiment, because I want you to feel what it's like to detox from something that you're addicted to. You're addicted to survival. The only reason you're not where you want to be right now is your ego is controlling your thoughts and your feelings. I don't really care how you feel. Your feelings, and I know I'm contradicting an earlier speaker, and I say that with respect, okay? But I am right. right? Your feelings is your unconscious ego trying to keep you comfortable. Fear, depression, anger. I'm not saying we mustn't acknowledge those feelings. You know, if someone's got severe depression, they need to go and seek professional help. I'm not saying I don't care about you or your feelings. When I take action, I don't pay attention to my feelings. Do you know, some of the best presentations I've done, I walked up on stage and I was fucking furious because something happened in my family. Just before I got up on stage, I read a WhatsApp or something. I made that mistake. I don't do that anymore. Right? I've given my family a different number. Okay? It's not actually bad to be angry if you channel it in a creative way. It's not bad to be fearful. I think it keeps you humble and focused. If you can channel that in a creative way. The problem is we get taught to acknowledge the feelings, acknowledge the emotions, and then we put energy into it. And yes, I would agree with the previous speaker that the more you focus on emotions, the more you create the emotion. It doesn't matter how you feel, because I don't know what your level of success is at this stage. I really do wish everybody the success at the level that you want and deserve, right? Which will be different for everyone. But I can tell you now, the more staff you get, the more money you have to pay, the more tax you have to pay. It's not spiritual. It's stressful. But if you know how to transform that stress into consciousness and come up with an idea to pay the fucking HMRC, hello motherfucking Luya, people. I've just made up a word. That'd be a really good t-shirt. You can buy them at the back of the room. Who understands what I'm talking about? Right? The first time I paid VAT, which I had no idea about, I just wanted to be a speaker. Suddenly I got a VAT bill, which I couldn't afford. I could have either been anxious and made my business small again and comfortable, or I could learn and take that attention and energy and use that as creativity to create a new campaign, a new presentation, get on the phone, make more sales. I can't remember what I did. Earn the cash, pay the HMRC, and spit. With love. Making sense, everyone? Your emotions are an indication that your ego is trying to make you small again. Don't pay attention to it. Put it to the side. And then ask yourself one question. What do I want? That's it. Not what's achievable, what do my friends say, what can I achieve with the resources that I have? What do I want? Yeah? Very important. 2, purpose. For those of you who like to read, of which I'm very sure you're going to get 1 million books to read over this particular event. A lot of the philosophy that I'm teaching is from a book called The Kabbalion. It's fundamentally based on Hermetic philosophy. That's why I wear a Hermes belt, Grant Cardone. Okay, so one of the principles from the Kabbalion is called polarity. Now, I fundamentally grew up with poverty consciousness. My mom drove a Datsun 140 Nissan. Why? Right? With navy blue panels, all dented, all the windows were broken, and the brakes barely worked. I think I had to do a Flintstone and stick my feet out to stop the car. So, if I grew up with poverty consciousness, what would you think I should plant into my subconscious mind to shift my focus and to create what I want? Who wants to hazard a guess? I believe I'm poor. What do you think I should focus on? What do you think I should create affirmations on and vision boards on? Abundant, yep. Rich? I just happen to have a slide that I prepared earlier. Okay? When I read this that I'm about to share with you in the Kabbalion, it felt like the lights went on. Because that's exactly what I did. I had affirmations about being rich. I focused on being rich. I used to work for a company called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Everything you experience is a reflection of your consciousness. Nothing happens by accident. Right? My vision boards had material things. There were no people on there because they're either expenses and mostly liabilities from my experience. Okay? No travel, no fun, no bliss, no riding my motorcycle, which is my real passion. It was all making money, obsession with making money. So, at the age of 26, in my humble opinion, I was rich from my perspective. I owned 1.3 million pounds worth of real estate, applying the tools and techniques that I learned in property training. So, here's the problem. Permission to blow your mind. Okay, just to that lady, I'm going to just present to this lady for the next 10 minutes. You guys can all, I don't know. I know you, mate. You want to get your mind blown. That's why you've lost all your hair at the top. It's true, isn't it? And I do like the new polish you're using. It's really good. So, if your motivation is the opposite of what you don't want, you will always create what you don't want in time. I'll say that again. Right? When your motivation, being rich, is the opposite of what you don't want, poor, you will always create what you don't want, poor. Here's why. My motivation was to be rich. In my mind, I became rich. What happened to my motivation? It's disappeared, right? So what kicked in? My ego, safety, survival, because going out of my comfort zone to become rich was my motivation. I've now become rich, so I've lost all motivation. I'm not going to go out of my comfort zone anymore. The next deal I did looked like an easy deal with someone I could trust that I didn't do the research on because I know him really well. What did I do? I lost 80,000 pounds cash that I didn't have. 5 months later, I'm facing bankruptcy. Success, failure. Boom. I zeroed myself out. I earned 80 grand in equity, but I lost 80 grand in cash. That's a problem, because I didn't have the cash. So I suffered for 6 years to fix that problem, because my motivation was driven by my unconscious ego, not by purpose, you see? So when I train people, and we can sort this out for as little as a few £100. When I train people, I teach people to focus on purpose. Einstein said, you can't fix a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. Rich, if you want to read another book called Power versus Force. Very good book, right? Scientific investigation and research of consciousness. Rich, the thought rich, the emotion rich, not the vibration, the emotion rich, is the same frequency in thought as poor. It's a polarity. So in the Kabbalion, this is called the law of polarity. You're just going to keep swinging from being rich to being poor, to being rich to being poor. Losing weight, picking up weight. Keto diet, I actually don't know much about diets. It's not something I've needed. Right? It's got nothing to do with the diet. It's the fact that your motivation is to feel good and lose weight. Now that I feel good and I've lost weight, my motivation's gone, so I'm going to go back to my original state, which is safety, eating. I remember when I tried to stop smoking at the age of 24, 25. It was hilarious. Right? I'd go party all weekend, 3-4 days, non-stop, smoke. Monday, I feel really sick. I go, fuck, I've got to stop smoking. I feel sick. 4 weeks later, I haven't smoked. I feel great. And I go, I should celebrate with a cigarette. It's funny because it's true. So be mindful where your motivation's coming from. Be mindful where you're setting your goals from. Because if it's from your unconscious ego, you're going to keep sabotaging yourself the whole time. So what I do is I teach people how to engage in purpose. And I've realized that most people they misunderstand what purpose is. We think that, or I thought that my purpose was my work. My work is what I do to live my purpose. I enjoy speaking when I'm on stage, not the 5 minutes before. Okay? I enjoy my business. I like making sales. I like serving customers. I especially love seeing the results that my customers get. That is the biggest high. But it's not my purpose. My purpose is to have a beautiful family, travel the world, do the things that give me joy and bliss. And when you can connect with that, business becomes easy or easier because you're constantly motivated. You don't need a double espresso in the morning. You don't need motivational tapes or hypnosis tapes in the morning to motivate you because the drive is evoking your spirit to wake up every morning to make you go beyond what you think you're capable of doing, because you're driven by what you love. Who understands what I'm talking about? 2 people. So, your vibration creates your reality. This is another premise that I got from the Kabbalion. When my mom grew up, her father, my grandfather, was an abusive alcoholic man. She grew up with strategies about how to remain safe in that environment. Put a loving man who's wealthy, kind, compassionate, spiritual, thought-provoking, sensitive, contributes to philanthropic cause. She doesn't know how to deal with that dude. She hasn't got behaviors and strategies to be safe in that environment. So what does she do? When she wanted to attract a partner, she wanted to get into a relationship, vibrationally, she's out there with her antenna. Boop. Boop. Right? Like Magic FM. Boop. Something happened when I turned 40. I switched from Radio 1 to Magic FM. That's not the funny part. The funny part is I fucking loved it. I used to judge Magic FM listeners. Right, now I'm like, come on, babes, put it on Magic. You know what I'm saying? She's got her antenna out. Boop. Boop. Vibration. Leslie FM. That's her name, right? Leslie FM. Boop. There's my dad. He's got his antenna out. He's had a few beers. You know what I'm saying? Right? Boop. Their frequencies match. Because he's a violent, abusive, alcoholic man. Even though it's bad for her, she goes, I know how to deal with this dude because I grew up around this dude. Who understands what I'm talking about? Raise your hands nice and high, please. So they fall in love. Thank Christ, because they made me through immaculate conception. My parents have never had sex. All right? At the age of 13, the abuse gets too much. The pain of the situation is greater than the pain of being alone. 13 years, actually more, 17 years, mental, emotional, physical abuse. But the pain of that experience was less than the pain of not being in a situation that she's familiar with. We're all addicted to certainty. Your genius is not in certainty. If you want to live a mediocre life based on survival, be certain. You want to be a genius, you want to make a difference in the world, you want to create and create great wealth and experience the exhilaration of fulfillment on a spiritual level, you have to be in the unknown. You have to create something that doesn't exist. That's how you create wealth. That's how you create purpose. So, at the age of 13, they get divorced. You'd think she'd learn her lesson, hey? All right? She gets the antenna out again. Boop. Boop. No Tinder back in those days. Had to do it the real way. Boop. Right? She attracts another guy, different star sign. Just putting that out there. The last motherfucker was Scorpio. I'm going to go for someone a bit more feminine, Aquarius. And shorter. Right? Same dude, different star sign. Who understands what I'm talking about? Violent, abusive, alcoholic. Boom, dump that guy. She goes through 12 men. The entire zodiac. I'm joking. I just threw that in there for comedic effect, which didn't work. Until she gets to a point where she says, men are all bastards. The problem is she was dating Man United supporters, you see. Is this making sense, everyone? She didn't stop and go, maybe I should actually look into getting to a guy that loves me, appreciates me, can create happiness for me. Because she grew up in a world around alcoholism and abuse. That's all she knows. So vibrationally, she's attracting people like that in her life. Okay? The only way to change that is to change your vibration. Bingo. Change your vibration, and your thoughts will change. You start thinking better about yourself. How do I know? I experienced extreme trauma in my childhood, okay? I used to resent the world. I used to take drugs to the point where I was trying to probably kill myself. I did not party and rave for glow sticks and white gloves, although that did happen occasionally. I did it because I had this deep, low consciousness of pain and low self-worth that I couldn't get rid of. But today, and it's not always like that, I'm not perfect. But today, for 90-odd% of my time, I'm happy, I love people from a distance. I think good thoughts about myself. I think good thoughts about other people, even though sometimes they give me trouble. And I didn't change my thoughts, I changed my vibration. And by raising my vibration, I started to think better things, feel better feelings. I don't have to create gratitude in my life, I am gratitude. Making sense? From a business perspective, if your vibration increases, if your consciousness increases, you will create better, bigger, more valuable solutions to serve the world with your gifts and talents. And what do you think is going to happen to your balance sheet? Boom. So when Facebook ads become too expensive and you can't do marketing through Facebook ads and that's the only channel you've got, you use the pain, you use the tension, you use the anxiety, you drop a couple of tequilas just to ease the tension. You use your genius, your intuitive capabilities and creativity, and you invent a new strategy that doesn't exist. One that people are going to start using in 6 or 12 months' time. You all have the ability to invent strategies, tactics, and techniques. That's how you get ahead of the game. You all have the capabilities intuitively and imaginatively to create products and services that don't exist. That's how you get ahead of the game. Then you can charge other people to learn your tools and techniques as a side business. Boom. Who understands what I'm talking about? Okay? So, your vibration is critical. This is an aspect of my purpose. Every month, regardless of how I feel, I have to pay that house £1,000. It's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. But part of my purpose is to contribute to the safe house in South Africa. It's a house that I came across, it inspired me, and I said, you know what? I'm going to commit to paying £1,000 to this house, and sometimes I don't fucking feel like paying the money. I'd love to give a really altruistic, spiritual aspect to the story, but sometimes I'm sitting there week to week, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know how to take my business to the next level, or oh my God, there's an unexpected bill here that I didn't budget for. I can easily can this safe house off, but I'm committed to it. Your purpose is something you must do, not something you feel like doing. You must do. So when I feel like giving up, I look at those kids and I go, I don't have a fucking choice. They depend on me. Who understands what I'm talking about? That pushes my spirit to be creative, to bring strategies in, to solve the problem that I'm experiencing. Because as you know, entrepreneurs, problems are a daily occurrence. Okay? Here's another aspect of my purpose. I'm driven to inspire South Africa to greatness. Now, granted, I don't actually know what that means, by the way. But I've got it in my focus to one day use what I've learned, go back to South Africa, I don't know, intuitively create a means by which I want South Africa to be great again. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you can appreciate this. We can't leave it up to the politicians. Yeah? Greatness, change, happens with one person. One person. My friend Lewis Pugh has transformed the state of our oceans. One person. Not a committee, not a rebellion, not an activist group, a vision, a purpose. One person. Nelson Mandela. Watch the movie Invictus if you want to be inspired by the impact that one person can have. This is my family. That's my dad at the top right. That's my uncle on the right-hand side. He's never been to school. I'm not giving you a sub story. I'm just giving you my story. Trust me, I would have preferred to have a better one. Okay? So, my uncle's never been at school. If it's not for me, he'd be homeless. I have to drop, now it's £1,500 a month, every month to them. I haven't even paid the rent yet, and I'm 2.5K down. So when I feel like giving up, I have to think about the safe house, I have to think about my dad who's in a care home for dementia, I have to think about Robert who's in a center for people who are homeless, and I have to think about his girlfriend called Squirrel. That is her actual name. I remember getting the WhatsApp from Robert and he said, Ryan, I've got my first girlfriend. I was like, fucking awesome, dude. Tell me about her. Her name is Squirrel. I was like, wow. I thought you were off the drugs, you motherfucker. She's the most beautiful human being you've ever met, but she's become unemployed and poor because she lost her eyesight and she can't work. And in South Africa, unemployment is 30%. And if you're unemployed in South Africa, you either need money or you're homeless. There's no benefits there. There's no social, there's nothing. So when I feel like giving up, which is sometimes, even still today, right? Think about this. If you're creating, assuming you're not, right? Those of you who are will know what I'm talking about. If you're creating on a consistent basis, you're stretching yourself, you're going for it, staff member leaves, unexpected situation happens, you think about giving up, or at least I do. But then, when I connect to my purpose, the Safe House, Inspiring South Africa, my family, traveling. So in a 3-day workshop that I run, I spend the whole Sunday doing an intuitive meditation where for the whole day, we will help you create a vision of what you want to create. When I learned this meditation, traveling was number one. I was thinking, how the hell am I going to create passive income from traveling? Because that's all I was obsessed about. That's all people were teaching in the seminar industry back then. Create passive income so you can have freedom. If you want freedom, just quit your fucking job. You're free. You'll be broke, but you're free. Making sense? So now, one of the key things that I have to do is I travel. I don't like traveling in my ego because I'm a workaholic. I'm thinking, God, these 2 weeks I'm spending time enjoying myself, I could be making a sale. Holiday is a really stressful thing. If anyone's running a 3-day workshop on how to go on holiday and enjoy yourself, sign me up, take my 16 digits. Because I'm a workaholic. I came from a family of lack. Who understands what I'm talking about? We never had holidays. A holiday was going to the 7-Eleven, buying a piece of bread and keeping the change. That's really funny. Someone write that down and email it to me. That's my bliss. That is me in the picture, right? That's me riding my motorcycle. I just came back from Spain last week, 3 days on the track. I shat myself the whole time. Because I'm a fear-based person. I'm expecting the worst. But I spent the time with my riding mentor, ex-military, rather aggressive. Right? And on day one, he pushed me further than my capabilities. And I was the fastest in my group. Okay? But most of the day, I was freaking out. He goes, why are you using the brakes? I go, what the fuck did you just say to me? He said, your brakes are not necessary. You must just turn. And I was like, dude, are you on crack? I had to go check the terms and conditions. Was he trying to kill me or something? What's happening? But because he was somewhere that I hadn't been, he could tell me what I needed to do to shortcut myself. I'm a big believer in employing the best to get you further ahead. You know, you can figure out how to get from a white belt to a black belt on your own over 10 years, or you can hire a master and fucking do it quicker. Because you either in life spend money or time. I spent 6 years trying to get over debt. I'm done spending time. So if I see a master, if I see someone that I want to spend money with, who can help me go faster on my bike, who can help me play golf better, who can help me, increase my sales, etc., I just go, how much do you cost? And I pay the money. I go home, I freak out about it later. Right? Investing in yourself, investing in your future is always unaffordable. That's why it doesn't feel safe. But everything you want is on the other side of safety. This is Ross. He's actually here. He came along to my 3-day workshop about 3 years ago. He had never sung, he had never played a musical instrument, and just recently, a few weeks ago, he launched his first single. Here it is. Three years. Why? He was born to sing. Right? Who understands what I'm talking about? Okay? Beautiful song, right? His first fucking song. He came to my house and he goes, I'd love to play you my first single. And I thought, fucking, I'll pretend to enjoy it. Who's, like when a friend says, I've just baked a cake, and you go, is that what that fucking mess is? He put the song on, and it was beautiful, right? It's just his first song. So greatness takes 1,000 songs. Let's see where he is in 3 years' time. But my point is, if you're born to do something, you inherently have the natural gifts and talents. Follow your heart, follow your whisper, follow your intuition. And greatness, black belts, can happen in 3 years. This is Aoife. She was stuck in the corporate world, really unhappy, making a lot of money though. No relationship, no happiness. Just a few years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, came along to my workshop, discovered that she wanted to be a fitness champion, which is what she achieved. 3 years, boom, right? Miss Ireland. This is a friend of mine, South African dude. Him and I were doing real estate together. He was investing in single-family lets in the US, doing rent-to-own type stuff, very good stuff, making good money. I helped him with his purpose using the meditations that I teach, and last week he closed his biggest deal, an acquisition of $75 million. Same strategy as Grant Cardone, buying real estate, increasing the rent, pulling all the money out, owning the properties with no money left in, and making a lot of money for his investors in 4 years. Right? Purpose. Not doing it to be rich, by the way, because he's actually on holiday. Right? He works half the year. So he's not grinding. He's not, well, he's grinding, but in a different context. He's not hustling. He's just spiritually connected to his intuition. You see, most people rely on their rational mind, but your intuition knows how to go directly to what you want without guessing. Creativity. Who here doesn't like tension? Can I just see by a show of hands, nice and high? Who here doesn't like tension? Only everybody who's never seen me speak. So, tension is essential to creating from your genius. Imagine the elastic band between my fingers over here, right? The more I stretch the elastic band, the further the elastic band will shoot when I let it go. Therefore, the more tension you can deal with in your life, the more you can create, the more wealth you will receive, the more love you can receive. The most fearful, frightening thing that I have in my life is being physically intimate with my partner, because I grew up around a lot of violence. I grew up around a lot of sexual violation. So being sober and sexually intimate with my partner is fucking terrifying. It creates a lot of tension for me. But when I learn to deal with that tension, acknowledge that my ego is telling me to get out of the relationship, which it does a lot of the time because I'm afraid of people unconsciously, I then harness that energy and overperform. Who understands what I'm talking about? No one. That workshop's not for sale. You have to get used to tension. That's my point. Emotions are tension. The more success you create, tension. The self-doubt kicks in, the criticism. My God, you want to see what it's like to have tension? Put a fucking Facebook ad up. Seriously, there are some serious trolls out there. Someone's running a troll workshop. Okay, I'll put a picture of myself and Danny up in a relationship advert, and some dude said, there's no way that CUNT, right, is telling the truth because he's an ugly mofo. I won't give you the whole wordage. And there's no way that beautiful escort will be in love with that dude, right? Literally, that's what someone wrote. I was like, dear motherfucker. Delete, delete, delete. Passive aggression, you've done that before. Hey, I wrote a really long ebook to the dude, and I thought, you know what, I think I'm feeling a bit angry here. Ban. Tension is essential. Think and Grow Rich. Most of you know about this book. Napoleon Hill studied over 140 of the most successful people of Henry Ford's time and discovered one thing, that the number one reason people fail is they have an inability to deal with their negative emotions. Not they don't have enough followers on Instagram, or not their ads aren't working, or not they're not in the right mastermind. They can't deal with their shit when success and results happen. Negative emotions. We all have them. Let's get real. So, therefore, the most important thing you can learn is to harness your negative emotions so that it pushes you to be more creative, not destructive. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to be angry if you can use that tension to create. So, they did a study once in the States. Going back here quickly. I've got the football on the one screen here. It's really good, actually. Okay. So they did a bit of research in the States. That was an IQ test. And they said in the IQ test, just before you finish this test, I just want you to imagine that you got an unexpected car bill of $1,500. An imaginary car bill. After the test, what they found was an imaginary problem reduced the IQ of everyone who took the test on average by 15 points. An imaginary problem. Not an HMRC problem, not an Apple doesn't want you to register your trademark problem. An imaginary problem. Stress kills creativity. Therefore, learning how to turn stress into creativity must surely be the most critical thing you can learn in your life. Stress is not a bad thing. It's the capital, the tension, the energy you need to invest in creativity. You can't be creative without stress. Adele. Hello. Right? She didn't get into a fucking peak state when she sang that song, did she? Hello. It just wouldn't have the same authentic feel. Who understands what I'm talking about? We love that song because we can resonate with her pain. We're there listening to Magic FM, driving along the M25 to a business meeting with the windows rolled up and going, hello. I've seen you guys. I'll watch you. Okay? Turning pain into profit, turning pain into purpose, turning pain into creativity. J.K. Rowling got divorced, took her pain, wrote a book, did quite well. Bought the Lake District on contactless. So, you want to neutralize your ego so that all tension goes towards what you want. Mr. Clicker. Yeah, did you get those 3 slides? Awesome. Here's a person. This is my partner. She came along to my workshop a few years ago, discovered her passion for dance. No training, no experience, no white belt, no black belt, no yellow belt, no belts. Right? She came along to the training and discovered her purpose, did a meditation that I teach, that she wanted to dance. The problem was she grew up in Birmingham. No, that's not the problem. The problem was she grew up in Birmingham as a mixed-race person, and in those days she used to be criticized at school for expressing herself. So she created safety by trying to fit in. Her mom's from Thailand, her dad's from Bloxwich. So she looked different. So she spent her whole life trying to fit in. Dancing and fitting in don't go together. So that's why she never danced. Who understands what I'm talking about? This is crucial, right? Came along, followed her whisper, followed her intuition, jumped on an application called Musical.ly, which is now called TikTok, amassed a lot of followers, not through strategy, by just expressing her creativity and what she loved. The followers came. As a result, she's evolved her dance career to meet some interesting people, including a guy called Marshmallow. That's a fucking human. We invited him round for a barbecue, but he declined. Went to the Brit Awards without me after that Facebook ad you read. Choreographed and attracted, vibrationally attracted. Didn't spam, didn't call, didn't telesell, didn't do a webinar. Attracted an opportunity because her vibration was oscillating at a vibration of wealth consciousness. Who understands what I'm talking about? Attracted. It came inbound. Can you please create a video for me for my music video? This is Zach Knight. He's like the Justin Timberlake of Asian music culture, right? The video was launched in August 26th, the 26th, just recently, 7.5 million views. She got paid to dance, paid to choreograph, and paid to cast all the other dancers doing what she loves. When you go for what you love, your family and loved ones benefit from that as well. How much have we benefited from J.K. Rowling writing that book? Lots, right? Our imagination gets triggered. Our kids' imaginations get triggered. The Lake District is now a nature conservation area. Boom. She didn't write the book to become financially free. She didn't write the book to save the Lake District. She did it because she just wanted to do it because she loves writing. And this is Danny's sister. She's now does a lot of modeling. gets paid £1,000 a day. That is a lot of money for her family. No disrespect. That's going to pay for her education to be an actress. So when you go for what you love, which is selfish, by the way, you have to put yourself first to serve others. That's just the rule. That's the big challenge that we have. We try to please people all along the way. But when you do put yourself first, you can then serve others. What do they say when you get on an airplane? Do they say, make sure everyone else's mask is on before you put yours on? No, they say, make sure your oxygen mask is on first, and then you can help others. That's life. That's wealth. That's purpose. That's how it works. So, I've got a 3-day workshop that I'd like to introduce you to. It's the best workshop you'll ever attend, I promise you that. You get a workbook. That is personality profiling. So in the workshop, I take you through on the Friday morning a meditation that's going to make you fully present, make you see, hear, feel things that you've never seen before. It's going to make you really, really present. Presence is the most critical aspect of living. It's what Eckhart Tolle spoke about when he wrote the book, The Power of Now. If you can be more present in your relationship, you'll create more love. If you can be more present with your customer or a prospect, you'll create more sales. If you can be present with the trials and tribulations of your business and the stresses, you will invent an intuitive, creative way to fix the problem. Right? Presence is crucial. The second half of the Friday, I teach you a 3-step technique where you will access your superconsciousness. You'll be able to close your eyes, ask your superconsciousness, your genius, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, to give you an awareness for a solution or an action you need to take, and you will see the solution in your imagination. So when I got my first VAT bill, the HMRC fined me £12,000, okay, because my accountant cocked up something. Cut a long story short, I closed my eyes, I went to a tribunal, and in my imagination, I saw my phone bill. I knew nothing about tax back then. I knew nothing about tribunals. I went completely unrepresented, no legal representation. I asked my subconscious mind, using the technique that I teach on the Friday, what is it that I need to do to get my £12,000 back? It gave me my phone bill. Cut a long story short, the HMRC accused me of not phoning them to let them know that my accountant made a mistake. And when I showed them the phone bill, the judge gave me my money back. Okay? When I went to register Super Genius as a trademark, a small company called Apple contested it. My trademark lawyer, ex-trademark lawyer, told me to change my name. I was like, change your fucking approach, dude. I want this. This is super genius. I want it. It resonates with me. I need to have this. So I used my super consciousness, and I negotiated with Lord, whatever the solicitor's name is, and I managed to get my trademark registered, and I got a blessing from Apple in a letter. When I train people to create end results, period, guaranteed, no compromises. You're not born to compromise. You're here to create what you want. On the Saturday, I take you through unconscious ego work. What's holding you back? What are the 12 strategies that you employ unconsciously? Do you help people by putting their needs before yours? Do you have issues around criticism, perfectionism? These are things that are all holding us back, and when you become aware of them, you stop doing them. So we spend the whole Saturday focusing on your unconscious ego. I'll also teach you a technique which transforms all forms of tension into intuitive genius. So if you do feel stressed, you can just use this technique, transform your tension into intuitive genius, and take an inspired action that's going to help you go forward in all areas of life, by the way. And then at the end of that Saturday, I'm going to teach you a technique. This is all practical, by the way, where you're going to experience the highest vibration of love you've ever experienced in your life. And the reason I show you that technique is so you can start to embody the highest vibration you can possibly experience as a human being. Because then you're going to love yourself, you're going to love your customers, and you're going to create an amazing, sustainable business that keeps growing, and you're going to do so in a way where you are healthy and your relationships are stable and loving as well. And then on the Sunday, I spent the whole day helping you create a vision of what you would love to create in your life in all areas. What's your motorcycling? What's your bliss? What do you do for fun? What do you do that you enjoy that makes all the trials, tribulations, and criticisms worthwhile? Right? What do you want in your relationships? What do you want in your business? Maybe you want to contribute. So we spend the whole day doing meditations, unique superconscious techniques that are going to stretch your purpose, stretch your vision. And I give you a workbook with all the notes. Those are the dates that are next available. It's 3 full days. It's from 9:30 till 7 o'clock. They're all in central London, and venues will be confirmed when you register. we've had lots of reviews. People like it, obviously. And the workshop is available on Eventbrite for £1,300. It's cheaper and easier for you to register today because I've only got a small team of 6 people. I don't have a big sales team. I don't actually want a big sales team because I like to ride my bike. It's more cheaper, more effective for you to register today. So therefore, I'm going to give you a 50% discount. It's only £650, including that. In that offer, which is for today only, you will get a free ticket, a complimentary ticket, so you can bring your dysfunctional partner along. If you don't have a dysfunctional partner, it's you. You definitely need to sign up. I'll give you a free ticket. People have said to me, what do I do between now and the workshop? Because I can only attend in January, for example. So I created a 4-part online series. I've actually sold that in the past online through webinars at £450, including that. At the beginning of the year, I created a subconscious mind meditation that I listen to before I go to sleep. That is a lot of it is actually about healing. So I created a subconscious mind meditation to heal myself when I discovered I had a brain tumor because I realized that I was resisting something, right? So this is included in the package of £450. Again, I have sold that legitimately. So that total value, which is a legitimate sales price, is £2,850. You'll get that offer for only £650, including that. That offer expires today. I'm so confident that it'll be the best workshop you've ever attended. I'm offering a double your money back guarantee. Because I've only had 75 minutes here to teach you something that I passionately believe is the most critical thing you're going to learn in your life. Here's a little video. I'm only going to be a couple more minutes of the experience, just so you can get an insight as to the nature of this event. And so I'm really, really looking forward to spending the next 3 days with you. I promise you, you have no idea what you're in for. Here is something that is simple, easy, and it's applicable in all areas of my life. You all have genius, and it's waiting there for you to unleash, and I can show you how to do that. We've learned about the unknown. I want to give you an experience of what it's like to just increase your awareness a little bit, or maybe a lot, depending on how you apply it.
There's so much value in it, so much deep inner wisdom.
I'm going to teach you a few things where I can show you how to guarantee you get results. You will have an experience of what it's like to have an embodied super consciousness as your new normal. And every workshop's different. I create a different theme, and we practice that and practice and practice, because the more you develop that super conscious technique, the more it becomes effortless. So that when you're at home by yourself, and you have to get an inspired vision from your genius or an aspect of your ego that's holding you back, that's still easy.
All of the stuff that I kind of thought was real and all the things that I've investigated and that have brought me up to this point are real.
We need to start listening to that whisper, that little voice that's in the back of your head telling you that you should do something that sometimes you just forget about.
Tapping into your genius sounds like something that's quite fluffy, but it is a very powerful process. And I would recommend coming down to this workshop and finding out whether or not it's something that you could make work for yourself in the future.
I promise you these tools and techniques are going to stop you from listening to your rational mind, programmed to keep you in safety, and empower you to connect to your inner intuitive wisdom and your spirit so you can go and fulfill greatness in all areas of life. I promise you that. Here's someone who attended our workshop, Nyasha. Not everyone's entrepreneurial. Some people come to our workshop. She got made redundant, experienced depression, lost the opportunity to work. She came along, healed that depression, now earning 10 or so grand a month in sales, and got on the property ladder as a homeowner. So it's not all about being rich and all that kind of stuff. That for her is her dream. Everyone's dream's different, right? This particular person, Tony, he was trapped in a family business that he felt guilty enough not to leave. He came along to our workshop. He left the family business, and he is now regularly closing 5-figure deals cash in the first 12 months of his new real estate investment business, which is totally made up intuitively. This is another gentleman who came along to my workshop, Leon Street, a marketing guy who was making about 8 to 10K a month. He came along to the workshop and realized what was holding him back. Now he's consistently closing big deals. This week he just did a 22K deal. You can go on his Facebook and check that out. What did he say here? In just a few short months after the workshop, I went from earning 8 to 10K a month to doing 2-figure months back to back. He had the tools, he had the strategies, he had the techniques. His unconscious ego was holding him back. He had a resistance to creating wealth. So we sorted that out in 3 days. Sarah and Sean McDermott, very successful real estate investors. One significant achievement was our ability to raise $365K in a week after a mortgage broker let them down. They did a meditation that I teach around the ego. They had a deal going through which was going to make them £400,000 profit, right? But the planning permission didn't go through. They've been contesting, and they discovered what was going on in their unconscious ego. They did a meditation with me, opened up their laptop, the planning permission was through. Okay? They didn't change anything, they just opened up their ability to receive wealth. Tom, this is a beautiful guy. His wife passed away, and he came along to my workshop because he wanted a new purpose in life. And now he created a not-for-profit from the meditation that I teach called Donna, after his wife, empowering seniors to enjoy life. Beautiful, right? Mark Hammond sold his business for a lot of money. And initially, he was going to get back to work, start a new business, typical workaholic. But he came along to my workshop and realized he wanted to go sailing. Bought a boat, named it after one of the meditations, by the way, which was pretty cool. And now he sails. So it's not all about success. It's about joy. It's about creating a life that you love. Bruno says it's a great workshop. Yui says it's a great workshop from a manhole. Why is he in a manhole? Yui came along. He works for a big corporate, a drinks company, just to put it out there. And he came along to my workshop, realized that his genius is about sustainability. He now represents that particular organization on sustainability in the UN and other places doing speaking on that. Pavlina says it's a great workshop. Damien says it's a great workshop. Sana says it's a great workshop. Kate says it's a really good workshop. Talisman really loved the workshop. Faith also said it was the best workshop in 16 years. Best workshop. It's fucking good, basically, yeah? So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Double your money back guarantee. It's only £650, including VAT. You can pay a payment now of £350 now or £350 next month. And the first 10 people who register will get a private client coaching session with me on Zoom. Please don't wear your pajamas. And everybody who signs up within the next 10 minutes will get an exclusive mastermind dinner in London to be arranged probably in the new year. So that's £650, double your money back guarantee. Offer ends in 10 minutes. The first 10 people will get a private client session with me. And the rest of you who sign up in the next 10 minutes will get an exclusive mastermind dinner. You've been the best audience I've had all day. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Ryan Pinnick, ladies and gentlemen.